So, y'all, I'm trying to record, right? I'm trying to get this video started, and I can't figure out why my game is upside down in OBS. Flip vertical. Now it's reversed horizontal. Okay, I don't know what caused this, but there we go. Yeah. Anyways, so today I want to talk about something pretty interesting. I watched this video recently about a guy who was talking about the issues of Night-Reign and how a lot of the current things right now are, the best way he described it was they went and got to a line but were too afraid to cross it. You know what I mean? In Night-Reign currently there are only 6 Dark Souls bosses, 8 Night Lords, and Everdark Silverane for all of them. The DLC so far contains 2 Night Lords, 2 Nightfarers, and DLC content and stuff, but he brought up some pretty important facts and factors here. He brought up the Nightfarers are okay where they're at. The problem is the content. Even with the shifting Earths and the fact that you can choose them and whatnot, the map is actually very repetitive and it can get very boring. You can kind of shut your brain off. I was playing Night-Reign the other day, and I don't feel the excitement I felt when I fought the first 8 Night Lords. Not only because of that, well, I didn't play the shifting Earths, but there's only like 4 shifting Earths. There's the Scarlet Rot, the Snowy Mountains, the Noclateo, and the volcanic one. There's only about 4 shifting Earth events, when the reality is we could have like a lot more. Another problem is, a thing I had was, there's a serious lack of remembrance bosses in the main game. Like, the reason for that is they didn't want to interrupt the lore aspect of the game. Yeah, I get it, but that's just another example of getting to a line and being too afraid to cross it. Like, we could have the same way Margit would invade, or Morgott would invade you, which is rarely, there's a really low chance that happens, but given how that was the coolest thing that could happen, these roguelike experiences need to be different and shifting every time. The game is getting burnt out, and it's not like I hate the game, because I really do want to play it. As you can tell, I mean, I've beaten every Everdark and every Night Lord, and I'm trying Deep of the Night. But the thing is, like, 6 Dark Souls bosses, there's a lot of people saying that they should just add them all. And the reason they don't do it is because, well, they don't want to mess with lore implications, and, well, yeah, that's just, they have a line, and they're being way too scared to cross it. I think they should very much so push the boundaries of what was capable, because when people want to see in a multiplayer roguelike Elden Ring light game like this, especially with the feature of the Dark Souls bosses, is the most randomized stuff you can get and a challenge each time. But every run I'm running into this burnout and just shutting my brain off and going through. These are a lot of points that he brought up. I might even link to it, but he's brought up some very valid points. And 2 Nightfarers as a DLC is pretty nice, but when you pay $40 for this game, which, me personally, when I was first playing the game, I felt like it wasn't my money's worth. I don't think it was somewhere around 50 or something like that, because I live in Canada and the currency is a little different than in America. I don't know. There could be a lot more. The updates aren't frequent, and Deep of the Night is pretty much just harder, like more HP and more damage. It's not really like exciting. And for a roguelike, which exciting runs are especially important, this game isn't a story game. There is remembrances to do on the side and skins to complete, but he also brought up another point that the rewards for completing Deep of the Night are actually nothing. You don't get anything besides, well, no, you don't get anything. And the randomized Everdark is nice. Those aspects of it are pretty cool, the harder difficulty. However, there's not a lot different from playing Deep of the Night and the regular bosses. Deep of the Night Endless Mode is actually what you'd want to expect from this game, except it's not done well enough. The thing is, there's so much hidden potential in this game that could be completed if they had just didn't worry about working on lore implications or going against how the thing works. Like, I'm pretty sure the lore behind this is the shattering disrupted timelines, and now this is a shattered timeline. But for a multiplayer game, it's not what you'd ideally expect. I hope a major update comes out. Like, maybe they increase the chances of Margit invading you, or have different remembrance bosses come in to invade you, like Malekith or Godfrey. A Godfrey run into would be actually amazing. For a roguelike, a multiplayer game even, people want the content and the randomization to be at crucial. Like, I want to feel like I'm not shutting my brain off and going in every time to make like a roguelike masterpiece and have the game live. But the way it is now, a lot of people are burnt out from the game because, well, there's not a lot to do. Yeah, the Night Lords are fun, but the roguelike aspect in Deep of the Night, it isn't fleshed out to its fullest. He's brought up like suggestions like, you have 6 Dark Souls bosses in the game, why don't you just add them all, right? The thing is, he was encouraging them to make mistakes and add this, go that, do this, and see what the community feels about it, and then, you know, if there's a problem, they could patch it up. And I don't know, it's just the game's in a very burnt out state, and I hope soon that they get people back, because I really do want to play this game. I love it. I mean, I have about like 100 hours on it, something like that. But yeah, there's not a lot to do. The skins are nice, there's no skin to show off, especially in a multiplayer game. Like, if you were in Depth 5, you'd want to have like a skin to show off at least, because that's how multiplayer games work. There's no friend system, there's no voice chat, there's no pinging options like let's go here, save here, this, that. There's not a lot of, it's just very simple, very, I wouldn't say bland, because, you know, people love the Souls aspect and the way it feels and the freedom of it. So I feel like this could be done so much better. It's got so much potential hidden behind it, but it's not fully fleshed out because they're too afraid to cross the line. You know what I mean? And I say they should just completely break away from that line and say, screw it, let's cross it. Let's see, go into the unknown. Let's put the Dark Souls bosses in there, and more remembrance bosses too, like getting an invasion with Miquella, or the DLC especially. Like, they have the hippo from the DLC, but they wouldn't go further than that. Like, why can't we get Mesmer the Impaler, or like, you know what I mean? These type of invasions, or Night Lord Night Lord versions of the bosses we have, like maybe Consort Radahn. Those things would be amazing to see, especially, but it's just the way it is right now, and I think it's just in a very burnt out spot. This game could have a lot of potential. Oh, what happened to my game there? This game could have like a lot of potential going into it, and my argument was that there's no, these goblets we have, these stones that help us get our perks up, it's all randomized, and although there's a gambling system where we can try to roll good perks, I feel like there should be like a way to make your own, make good builds so that we can fight things harder instead of constantly having to search for like a random one. That could take so long, and the gambling isn't, well, the greatest thing in the world. I got disconnected again. But yeah, the game's just very burnt out. The DLC is supposed to come soon, like this year maybe? I'm not sure. Let me ask ChatGPT. There is an expected like time period in which the DLC will come out. ChatGPT is saying that it's Q4, around, you know, October and December. and Game Awards is coming out soon, so the DLC might show some things about Night-Reign that we haven't seen. Because, to be completely honest, ever since the Game Awards, I've been very bored. It's always something to come back to, a very important time in the year, to be hyped and think about the games that are coming out. To see a DLC for Night-Reign, I would 100% be on board with that. However, unless there's like maybe like some map changes, there's lore, but it's very hidden, and I'm gonna keep it honest with you, the people didn't want to play this game for the lore reasons. They would have played Shadow of the Erdtree. This is a lot different. This is a multiplayer aspect type game, and the lore is nice. It's just, come on, I just got locked in. I don't think it should be a main component when you come like to a multiplayer game, and that is very reasonable. When you have a multiplayer game like this that's roguelike, you're gonna want to keep people engaged. See what I mean? Like, my brain is kind of shut off here. I don't have to worry about anything. These enemies are just stronger. They're not, they have more HP, more attack, but they're not different, you know? Maybe the resources are limited because they are working on Dusk Bloods. This game is going to lose its player base slowly but surely if they don't do something about this problem quick. People do want to play this game, promise. There's a lot of people that want to play this game. It's just sometimes it can get boring. I haven't felt that excitement every time I played, so I played Deep of the Night, but it just doesn't help as much as I wanted to. There's not a lot of like new aspect to it, and that could be fixed by adding tons of content. Like, you add so much content that every run is almost, you have no clue what you're going to get into, and that's how roguelikes should be, right? Who knows what they could do? They could have so much ideas to do, and yeah, maybe it does take some time to make some things, but they already have the assets for like Dark Souls enemies and the DLC enemies, so I don't see why they don't just say screw it. Let's add all the Dark Souls enemies, and let's add some Dark Souls weapons too. I don't know how that could work. I'm not really into game coding or anything, but they are a AAA company, you know. It's just that the game's in a very odd place right now, and it's not in the preferable place to keep it alive. A lot of players are burnt out, which sucks. Like I said, there's a lot of people passionate about this game, especially me. I have a good hefty amount of hours into the game. I really do like playing it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have the amount of hours that I do. Guardian's an odd class, I say. I like playing him because he's a challenging class to play, and he can be good sometimes. However, I feel like he should have maybe like an S in endurance or something, or a way to make it so that he can block without many problems. Because you know how, what's her name, Duchess can dodge easily? How come Guardian can't block easily? Yeah, make him unkillable, but you don't need to make it so that it's to the rate of Duchess, you know? There could be just a small change to Guardian, but I think they're just too afraid to make those changes, and it's not what you want to have ideally for a game like this. Feels like his class is a little undermined. There's just a lot of flaws in the game right now that are difficult to cope with. Don't get me wrong, this game is very good. A Souls-like roguelike game? Yeah, 100%. I'm taking that. I love Souls games, right? But for now, I don't know where they're gonna go in the nearby future. We're just going from place to place, doing this and that. Very small, select few amount of bosses we have. There's no remembrance bosses. It'd be cool if there was some remembrance bosses. Like, what's one that could be used and utilized? Malekith is the only one I could think of. Morgott was already in the game. Godfrey, Radagon. Like, they could add Radagon, give him some new moves. It's just, it seems like maybe they had a lot of ideas, but just were too afraid to use them. Yeah, the guy described it almost pinpoint accurate, where they had a line, they reached it, but they got too afraid to go past it, you know. I think I should use a greatsword because the halberd is just not helping me. and then you go to the castle and you go to the inside, and yeah, you do know what to do when you're playing a roguelike because you played it so much. However, the map changes just aren't, you know what I mean? They're just not engaging. They're just not fundamentally, it's just the same thing everywhere you go, and it's a little unfun. There's only 4 shifting earth events, and trust me, that's probably the most amount of fun I had playing. Oh, trust them guys, it's probably a bell-bearing hunter. His dashes aren't terrible. They're actually quite manageable, like, sometimes they can be a little problematic, but not most of the time. It's a very fun class in my opinion, sometimes. Not a lot of variety to them. The problem with Night-Reign is some classes are better than others just because of the amount of, like, maybe legendary items that they have too. I have a lot of poise, which is notable. When I was looking at the trailer for Night-Reign, I can't lie, I expected a lot more. But, like, that can be changed. It doesn't have to be like this. It just is. Which is always a little disheartening to see. Yeah, I figured the most amount of fun I have in this game is only when we're doing shifting earths, because that's when the map changes happen, but there's just not a lot of them to go off of. That's perfect. Oh no, I can just go to this grace here to level up. But yeah, the game has so much potential. So much. And from Dark Souls 1 to 3, there's a lot of bosses they have, a lot of options they could do. Some may take some little refreshing because the hitboxes in some of the games are quite horrendous, bro, I can't lie. But that's never stopped people, you know. Like, I don't get mad at that. That doesn't annoy me. The expectations on these games are especially high when you're playing like a Souls game. Because people love Souls games, right? They got a lot to expand upon. 2 night fairs, 2 new night fairs. I've heard there were data leaks, and yeah, there's a martial arts class. There's gonna be new weapons, obviously. I hope. Well, they're adding DLC, which means DLC Ashes of War. And DLC Ashes of War means we have a lot of fun. And hopefully they add every DLC Remembrance weapon. I know it's asking for a lot, but for a game like Night-Reign where you're not playing the lore, like, would that be money hungry? To think that they're not adding all the stuff from those games because, well, this isn't the game. When you play a repetitive game like this, a roguelike, you kind of need to improvise, and you kind of need to take a lot of risky decisions that involve, like, moving onward, moving forward, and keeping the player base locked in. Anyways, thoughts are a little jumbled up. Got a little burnt out playing that game, but hope y'all enjoyed the video. If you do, make sure to hit that subscribe button, like the video, share, turn on that noti bell if you want to see more. And one more thing, I'm thinking of maybe playing some horror games or some AAA games that I've never played before. That way we get a whole new experience together, and that would be fun to do. So if y'all want to see that, make sure to hit that like button. Maybe it could help me grow the channel a little more if I play like those games I have, which I still won't name because, well, you're gonna have to see for yourself. Anyways, I'll see y'all later. Enjoy.